Well, you know what? I guess it didn't work, man. I don't know what's going on, but hey, we are live now.
What's up, everybody?
Here we go. Hey, man, this is Terry with NSPS TV Paranormal. How you guys doing on this Sunday evening? I'm doing great. As you can see, I just got off of work, and man, I had to rush home and get prepared for these two gentlemen that I have on the show tonight, man. You know, two brothers extreme paranormal from Middletown, Connecticut. How are you doing tonight, my brother?
What's going on? Not much. Doing awesome. Getting ready for another work week.
Oh, yeah, you had to mention the W word, man.
Yep.
Yeah, that work week is something else. All right. Well, you know, dude, you know, we've been I've been trying to get you guys on for a month, a little bit over a month. And you know, the last time you guys had a situation come up, you know, so we pushed it
Yeah.
back till today,
Yep.
you know. But hey, I'm glad to have you guys on the show. Please tell the world about Two Brothers Extreme Paranormal.
Well, as you can see, there's only one of us right now. Adam had a family emergency, and prayers to his mother and his family right now as she was rushed into the emergency room. But I'm here. We formed in November of 2020. My
Mm-hmm.
ex-wife and his wife were best friends, and we were sitting on his couch one day watching Ghost Adventures. And I've been doing the paranormal for 18 years now, and we started talking, and he was very interested. And we looked up places on our phone just to see where we can go. Grabbed the keys, jumped in the truck, and I'm going up to Vermont and doing an investigation during the day. And here we are 3 years later. We've been up and down the East Coast with 30 plus total investigations. We've done several private
Mm-hmm.
cases in Connecticut alone and one in Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
And just going strong right now. We're working on a YouTube series for 5 episodes. So we started filming that last weekend. So we're working on that right now. But yeah, we're doing great. Having fun, which is the key
Yeah,
word there.
there you go. The key word, fun. You know what, man? When I came across you guys on you know, and I'm like, whoa, man, these guys are doing big things over here, man. You guys had, you know, your ducks in order. You guys had everything where it needs to be, and I'm like, wow, man, these guys doing it there. Tell me, dude, just tell me, what was the reason that actually got you started, man? You were sitting on the couch, but
Well,
did you guys have some kind of episode or something?
well, we both grew up in haunted houses, which is almost like every other investigator out there. And my house is
Mm-hmm.
haunted that I grew up in, and that's where we started talking. His house was haunted that he grew up in, and he was always fascinated. Never worked with a team, nothing. Always thought it was amazing. Trying to figure out, he wanted to figure out the history, why the places were haunted. And I've always been like that since day one. And I told him some of my experiences from past investigations and past teams that I've worked with, and he was very intrigued.
Mm-hmm.
So we just started working together. I had tons of equipment already, which helped from past teams, and we just did started
Mm-hmm.
doing our thing. And then next thing you know, we started putting our names out there, going to Paracons, and meeting new people, and joining the paranormal community was amazing, and that's helped us big time. And then there's another event organization that we work for. Well, we worked with, and they helped us out called Get Haunted, and they had
Mm-hmm.
us come places, and we just been getting our names out there, pretty much doing what we do, what we love best, having fun
Yeah,
and
and yeah,
traveling in the road.
you know, the one thing that you guys have advantage on the East Coast is there's a lot of cons, paracons, comic cons. there are so many, ways that you guys can get, you can go promote yourselves,
Yep.
but down here in Texas, it's really hard for us to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know why nobody's put a Paracon together. There hasn't been one here in the Central Texas area. I don't even think it's ever happened. I mean, I know people
Gotcha.
put events together, but I don't know anybody had put anything that big where you can actually go and there's a million paranormal investigators out there you can go relate to, talk to, communicate with, just go and just have fun. I
Yep.
mean, I wish that would happen, but I think it would take somebody with, a lot of cash flow to actually pull something off like that.
Oh yeah.
Uh, you
Yep.
know,
And what
and,
helps
and,
is
and
like for us on the East Coast, we have a lot of the big name places. Like you have the
mhm.
Warrens out of Connecticut, they throw on the big Paracon at Mohegan Sun, and then you have Penhurst, they throw on a big one every spring summer time area, and then you have like the New Jersey Paranuity, I think it's called. They throw on a big one, so it's literally like May through July, and then there's a couple in October, November, and it's all up and down the East Coast.
Yeah, man. That's yeah. I would love for for someone in Central Texas to actually put in a big event like that. Because it would actually like you, man. It would be you know people were able to come together as one. And share a lot of information. But it's just so hard. I don't know. Is it because Austin is so spread apart. It's really hard for people to get to a certain location, at a certain time, but either way, man, you're talking about some hours of driving. If
Oh
you
yeah.
live in
Yep.
El Paso, that's an 8 hour ride. If you in Houston, man, that's a it depends on what part of Houston you're going to. That can turn into a long trip. Dallas is a long trip. So it would take somebody with a lot of
Yeah.
support, a lot of advertising to pull something like that off. But
Yeah,
I
Texas.
wish somebody would.
Yeah.
I'm up for it. You know what I'm saying? I'm really. You know what, man? Let's. Hey, I'm ready to dive into the questions, man. Are you ready for
Go for it.
this?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, man. All right. Hey, question number one. What do your parents think about what you do for, as a paranormal investigator?
My mother absolutely loves it.
Okay.
She is what got me. We always watched the paranormal shows when I was growing up. It started
Mm-hmm.
with Ghost Hunters when they were on the Sci-Fi Channel. Um, I always grew up watching the TVs, and again, like I said, my house was haunted growing up. But my mother is absolutely proud of all the work that I've put in, and that me and Adam have done together. And she tells me constantly she can't wait to see me on a cover of a magazine or on a TV show or something like that. But I mean, our support that we've had from both of our families is just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Adam just had a baby recently. The baby's
Oh,
4 months old now.
congratulations.
So his wife is very proud of him and understands with the amount of travel that we've been putting in. I just
Mm-hmm.
literally travel almost every weekend last year. And then this year, 2024, we're gonna be traveling a lot again. But it's amazing. It's good when you have full support from the family.
Yeah. Is it just you two guys, or or there other supporting cast also?
It's literally just the two of us, but there's a couple people that sometimes come out with us, like guests, as we say.
Mm-hmm.
We have a good friend of ours. Her name is Kaylee. She's from New York. She joined us. We actually met her a couple of years ago on one of the investigations that was public, and she's been with us and helped us out a lot. And then there's just our producer, who's going to be now our camera guy slash editor for our YouTube series. He'll be coming out
Mm-hmm.
with us, but most of the time it's just the two of us doing all the work.
Oh wow.
and I do all the editing and the photos and the videos and all that stuff. I'm the tech savvy guy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? There has to be at least one tech savvy guy, man.
Yep.
Um,
And it's a
it's
lot of
really
work.
hard, man. Especially, yeah, it's a lot of work, and it's hard. You have to be up to date on just about everything.
Yep.
Hell, dude, my editing is so basic, man. Hell, I think a 2-year-old kid can do it. You know,
Yeah.
but I'm
That's the
really,
same
yeah,
thing. Yeah. It's
I'm really, I'm looking for that one person, man, that can actually, you know, can just go and just, like, hey, man, I can do this. I can do the editing. I can do all the promoting for you guys a certain way that
yep.
you want it. I'm looking for that person,
Yep.
but
That's
everybody's,
pretty much my job. And going on 4 years of it, I'm still learning about the whole
yeah.
editing and all the video stuff. It's a pain sometimes.
Oh my God, dude. And you know what? The first question that I get is, do I get paid?
Yeah.
Do I get,
Nope.
and I'm like, well, no, you don't get paid. You don't get paid, but how you promote us, you're also promoting yourself because the
Exactly.
work that you did,
Yep.
so, you know, people might think, hey man, I like the way this guy is doing. Let me reach out to him and so on and so on. And yeah, dude, I mean, I don't get paid for what I do. I enjoy what I do. I'll take a
Yep.
donation. Hell, I'll take a damn beer if you give it to me. You know what I'm saying? That's just me.
That's pretty much us. I mean, we're obviously a nonprofit, and it will stay that way. I mean, if people have issues with their homes, we don't get charged. We don't want to charge people. We don't want to get paid
Nah,
for that. The way we make our money is when we go to Paracons and sell our merchandise. All that money goes towards all new equipment, goes towards new anything that we need for the road trips that we have coming up. Other than that, I mean, I do it because I love it. It's one of my favorite things growing up. And
there
yes,
you
it's a
go.
lot of time and work. And the thing that people don't understand is when you're investigating for 8 to 9 hours, 10 hours, you have to do it all over again when it comes to watching the videos, watching or listening for EVPs. And
Right.
I work full time, 12 hours a day, Monday through Friday.
Woo.
So between doing all this and doing my full time job, it sometimes takes me a couple weeks to do one location.
Right, right. You know, I think Andrew just popped in. Let's see if I can get him in.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, what's going on, Andrew?
Not much. How
Uh,
you guys doing?
Not much,
Andrew,
not bad.
what's going on, Andrew? All right.
Same old, same old. Just
Mm.
trying to
How
survive
you
this world.
doing today? I understand that. Understand that. Hey, okay. You know what? Like you just brought up my next question because you said your mom had you watching taps and when they were on site and all that stuff.
Yep.
Now, I'm pretty sure you've answered this question a million times. What do you about what's going on with Hollywood now and the way that you and the way they investigated and the way you investigate now?
Well, let's put it this way. The way it is now is a lot different than the way it was back then. I feel like now it's more about TV and it's about how many followers and viewers you get on your TV shows. Personally, I've been to some of the most haunted locations that these places have or these teams have been to on TV, and we've walked away with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Or it was a quiet night or something. And for us only being there for one night, it's a lot. Clearly, these teams they go into these locations on TVs and they're there for weeks. They're probably there for a week. They're there. They're definitely there more than one night. And do I think stuff happens constantly? No. Do they do it for the TV ratings? I believe so. Um, don't get me wrong. There's some teams that I think are 100% legit, but I think there's some other that are all about being on TV. and all about getting the ratings and about staying on TV.
Yeah, like Ghost Adventures.
Yes, I wasn't going to say their name, but yes. Zach's all about the rating. Put it that way.
I mean,
I
you,
mean,
you can clearly
I think
see in some of their stuff where they have things like rigged in like
yes,
under a chair, or you could kind of make out a string going from somewhere, and random knocking or dropping of an object. It
yep,
is so easy to
yep.
pull off being
I
fake.
mean, their first couple years when they came on, they were good. Then you saw it turn into a comedy show. And then you saw it turn into more, all right, we got to do this for ratings now. And that's how it's been since.
I did like their offshoot though. Their offshoot show was really good.
Yeah, it was. I agree. That was pretty good.
The one about the artifacts.
Yep. The thing with Zach though, which I don't like, is everything's demonic. I truly believe that that's not the case. Not everything is about the devil or the demons or demonic.
Yeah. Well,
If
he
there's
tries to tie that into the backstory of his character, because in the show he swears that when he was younger he was possessed by demon, or he saw a demon attack him. So now he tries to make everything about that, because it's the only thing he can really relate to.
And that's how he lost his eyesight too, right? It was because of something demonic.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, then there's
right,
Jason.
Can somebody give me a number? Yeah. Somebody because people talk about demons and being possessed. Can you guys give me a number on the people on this that's actually been possessed? I mean, it has to be 2, maybe 3 in a million that actually occurred, or that somebody's actually, been possessed. The numbers have to be really low.
Yeah, I don't think it's high at all.
No, it's super low.
Yeah. I think I want to say like 2 or 3.
I mean, I would say that there is little to no demonic possession, as there is like a supernatural possession, I guess you could say. It's not necessarily demonic, but spiritual.
Yes, I agree 100%.
Because we all, I don't know a single person in the world that hasn't seen a ghost or specter or some sort of entity in their life at some point. I mean, I've seen many, but that's because I go looking for them. But everybody, even if you're not looking for it, experience something at some point.
I mean, out of the 3 years of doing this and the 18 years total of working with other teams in full, I've only seen an apparition one time. And that was actually last year. And I saw like the full figure in front of me. I mean, there was no eyes. Everything was dark, but you could see the silhouette of the actual person standing in front of me. Other than that, I have never seen a full apparition.
Yeah, I've seen a few like embodiments, I guess you could call it, a specter or like a half specter, where you just get like a glimpse of maybe a shape of something.
Yes. Yep.
Because I'm not from Connecticut. I've only been here for 4 years now. Where I'm from down in Maryland, and there's a couple places in Maryland that I used to go on a regular basis that you can see something. If you want to go there, you can experience it.
Yes.
Because there's a place, they call it Hell House, but it's not actually Hell House.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
There's also 100 Steps, which is in the same location.
Oh, wow.
They're both around a state park. It used to be all quarantine off where you couldn't go to it, and now they took out basically the stuff that was causing all the horror, and now they opened it up. But 100 Steps originally went up to a Catholic school, and there was a priest there who was sacrificing nuns underneath the school. Like the police literally caught him. He had tied up and taken several nuns into this sanctuary that he made himself underneath of it, and literally was sacrificing 5 nuns over top of a pentacle.
Wow.
And then
Oh wow.
I don't know if it didn't work or whatever, but when he did it, he tried to destroy the evidence by burning the school down.
Interesting.
Wow.
And the reason why
That's crazy.
found this out is because after the investigation and everything, because I'm guessing the guy wasn't thinking very much because of how old this place was. It was built in like the 1800s. Majority of it was stone. So when he set it on fire, he only really set the wooden parts inside of it that would actually catch. So when they actually found his area and they did the investigation and everything, they found evidence that it was him, and he was arrested.
Wow.
And then after the place burnt down, it was just stayed like that. And apparently it's supposed to be like a very big center for spiritual activity. Because after that, there was this one archway that remained from the school burning down. And some people say it was drawing people there because there was one gable, like a window with a wall, where a ladder had been put up to it, and the cops kept on knocking it down because people kept on going up there to kill themselves. And you could literally, before they knocked it down, you could literally go up there and count all of the ropes from the cops going up there and cutting them off from the people that had gone up there and killed themselves.
Wow, that's insane.
I mean, I would have thought just going up there and seeing the ropes would have stopped you from doing it. But some people say it's like once they're up there and they got the rope on them, even if they contemplate it, it's like some people say that they've been there and said that there was an entity that like pushed them over the side.
Wow.
So it's like as soon as you get up there and it's on your neck, it's like something's pushing you.
That's a dark place.
It's extremely. You go in that place and it feels like you're walking molasses with how much energy is in that area. It is crazy.
Yeah, it sounds
interesting.
And then there's like 4 other spots there that are worse. Go ahead.
Let's talk about the mental aspect of the paranormal. Because one thing I do know for a fact is mentally, when somebody's actually mentally, I would say most people, when it comes to somebody, let's say, Mike, if you go to somebody's house and you're looking around and, so you want to dissect everything. You want to look around and make sure everything's in the right place. But you know what? A lot of people who say that they're being possessed by other things, it's not always the case. Now, the mental aspect of someone who's off their meds plays a big part because I've been through this myself. And so when someone is off their meds and they'll call you and tell you, hey, something's going on with me, that is the first things that I leave. Okay, is there a medicine bottle sitting over there? Or you ask them, are you on medication? And most of them would say yes. So what is your number like on most of your investigations being mental?
When we do private investigations, I literally look at every little detail possible. I've been on an investigation with an old team in the past where they said they had issues with standing up straight in a certain area. Things they couldn't remember, like they felt like things were moved, that they know they put it somewhere, and all this other stuff. And while we were sitting on the couch, getting everything together, the husband kept going into a room and coming out every half hour. And I thought it was strange.
Mm-hmm.
So finally, the last time he went in there, he forgot to close the door. And I was with my teammate. And I looked in and he was shooting up. So
Ah,
ever since that happened to us, I look at every little detail possible. And the one thing that people don't realize too is it messes with your mind. So if you are
exactly.
on medication and you're thinking your house is haunted, you're gonna have a haunted house. Um, a lot of the times, if they take off or if they're off their medication, well, things go south real quick, and it messes with their mind because they're thinking, "Oh my God, wait a minute, am I nuts, or is that actually happening at my house?" And so, like when we go, like I said, every little detail I look for. When I go into rooms, I go into bedrooms, I go into the bathroom, I look for everything possible of what it could be. And that's when we do the sweep of the house in the beginning. I ask our questions. I try to get their answers. I'll go back later on and ask them the same question again to see if they give me the same answer or if something's different. I look at every little detail possible. For the bigger
Yeah,
places, we know those places are already haunted. They're
right,
the insane asylums. We don't need to, we don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. But when it comes to
right.
private
You know,
homes, I'm very strict with private homes.
exactly.
That's one of
You
the
know,
things I like that they showed in the movie The Conjuring in the first one. They actually show them going into a house and like showing that, hey, this isn't a paranormal incident. It's just like the wind coming through this window and causing your floorboards to creak, so it's making you think you have something up here.
mm-hmm,
I love that they showed that in
mm-hmm,
film.
Mm-hmm. Like
mm,
when you have a house
yeah,
settle, when a house settles, it makes noises. When you're heating up your house, the pipes creak. Certain things like that. When you have an old or old farmhouse, you have things that make noises here and there, but it's just the house settling. So I jot everything down. I keep an eye on everything. We also like to do when we hear knocks and creaks. We like to do the knocking game to see if they'll respond back that way. So if I keep hearing like creaks, knocks, and I do the knocking game, nothing responds. Okay, maybe they're not responding, but we try to match everything as much as possible to figure out what's debunked and what's
right.
not debunked.
Okay. Uh, my mind, I'm stuck on this mental thing because it plays a big part into the paranormal. Mike, can you give me a number? Because my numbers might be a little bit different from yours. Give me a number where you think, percentage wise, that mental health plays a big part into the paranormal.
Ooh. Mine's gonna be on the high side. Um,
I'd have to agree with you as well.
I would say maybe I'm gonna go with 60%, to be honest with you. About 60-70%.
60%.
I mean, it could be
Okay.
even
My
higher than
number,
that. I mean,
yeah, yeah. I'm thinking my numbers is 80-20.
okay. Yep.
Especially if you on some heavy medication. Because
Oh
when
yeah,
doctors,
absolutely.
one thing about doctors, man, doctors don't know what are in these medications when they get them. The pharmaceuticals is not going to tell you. They might say, hey, this is for your blood pressure, but it doesn't say, hey, it has that 2% of
Mm-hmm.
something that can make you hallucinate and might make you see things, might make you do this, might make you do that.
Mm-hmm.
The pharmaceuticals don't tell you that, and the doctors don't know anything about it. They're just like, hey, this will help you do this. For a quick example, guys, I had a case where I walked in. I got to tell you what, I called, I got a phone call. The guy told me, hey, man, I got a situation over here. Can you guys come ASAP? And I was at work. And I'm like, whoa, man, this sounds like a big priority because this guy sounds like he's stressful. He needs help. So we shot over there after we got off of work. And so I'm looking around, the caseworker was talking to him, and I'm looking at the bottles of medication on the table, and guess what? They're empty. If your
Yep.
medication is empty, That's red. Hey, red flag right there.
Yep.
So I'm looking. I'm okay. Okay. But this is what got me. He told me, he's like, man, I'm sitting on the couch, and you guys might think I'm nuts when I say this, and I fell asleep, and and he told me, I'm like, okay, well, you sleep. Do you always sleep on the couch? He says yes, but I woke up and I noticed some things, and he noticed that he had uh somebody cockroaches was smoking his cigarettes and drinking his milk.
Sounds like Joe's apartment there.
Yeah. Um,
And and you know
Roaches
what?
smoking
And I
liquid.
didn't laugh. I didn't laugh at him because he was taking this literally seriously. He was taking, and you got to respect. No matter how funny you think something is, you got to take it with a grain of salt.
Yes.
You have to.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, let's see how we can help this guy out.
Yep.
So the caseworker got all his medication number, write it all down, and we put a camera up in where he slept, and that camera lasted for 2 days. The first night, nothing happened. The second night is when he got up, smoked a cigarette, and went to the refrigerator and drank some milk. And he went back, sat down, and went back to sleep. But the problem is, Mike, guess what? He was already asleep,
So he's sleepwalking.
Ooh. Yeah, sleepwalking.
sleepwalking.
Yep. Yep.
He was,
Medication will do that, depending on what he's on.
and the most serious is he was while he was asleep. Big,
Wow.
that's red flag right there. Danger, danger.
Yeah, lucky the house is
So
burned
we
down.
went and got the camera. We went the apartment. We went to review the footage, and we saw that. And mind you, that we already had the medication bottles from. We write everything down, and we called up his doctor. And we talked to the nurse, and we told him who we are and what we're about and how we were helping him. And she was like, "Well, these medications that here uh, do make you do odd things." She didn't go into specifics, but she was like, "Okay." And I like, okay. So we went back and we showed him the video on him going through this whole thing, and he's like, "Oh my god." And I asked him, I like, "Are you not taking your medication?" And just to his, he was like, "I'm out of medication." And and I'm like, "Well, this is what making you see things because you're off your meds. You have to stay on your meds."
Mhm.
And but him not knowing what's in his meds, the only thing the doctors is medication, just like every other doctor, they won't tell you.
Mhm.
Hey, they don't even tell you what's in common medicine these days.
There's a lot of people.
So
There's a lot of people
and
that
I'm like,
start. There's a lot of people that start their medication too and don't want to get addicted to it or don't like what the side
yeah,
effects are while and they cold turkey it, and then they
exactly.
have more problems that they're dealing with from it. But it's like these commercials. You hear them all the time about medications, the side effects. You might as well not take them. The side effects are death or this or that, bleeding. Like it's crazy. All the stuff that's out there right now for medications that they don't know what's
Yeah.
in it. Like you're
Man,
saying.
man, my doctor, because I take some psych meds, but my therapist had me taking a med for the side effects of the med.
Yeah.
Like they had me taking a blood pressure medication that was supposed to help with nightmares
Wow.
as a side effect.
Yeah. Yep. That's crazy.
And it wound up just
Yeah.
making me worse, and I wound up taking myself off of it because having a spike in your blood pressure isn't good either.
No, it's not.
I'd rather have the nightmares than have high blood pressure.
Correct. Same here.
Same here.
Yeah, the veterans
Yeah.
used to
Okay,
have me
Mike.
taking like a handful of Skittles for psych meds, and I took myself off of all of them, and now I just take I just use CBD. CBD has helped me phenomenal. I still have the same issues,
Oh,
but they're a lot better taken care of with just using CBD than trying to take all the pharmaceuticals.
Oh yeah, that's the
right.
truth.
Okay. What's up, Paranormal Connections? How you doing today? Hey, appreciate you joining me on the show. I really do. Hey, I support. Hey, you support me, I support you back. That's how that works. So appreciate you coming on the podcast this evening. All right, Mike. Let me ask you a question, man. And I want you to think about this. Do you think there's really spirits walking among us?
Yes, yes, I do.
You really think so?
Yeah.
And,
Um,
mm,
yeah. It's an interesting topic because I've been asked this before, and there's a lot of people that don't think there is, and there's a lot of people that do. It's either yes or no. There's no in between with people's
right.
thoughts about the. And I think since going back, there's been spirits on this earth. I mean, from back with the Indians and all that kind of stuff. I think they're among us all the time, from relatives, family members that haven't moved on, or people that just don't know how to move on or don't choose to move on. A lot of the connections I
Mm-hmm.
think have to do with where they lived, the land they were on, and they just don't want to leave their home. And it also, I think, has to go with how they passed away. A lot of
Right.
suicidal, I believe, they're on this planet because they don't move forward. They don't know how to move on because they don't realize what happened to them. Um, yeah, I really do. I think every day, depending the
Wow.
locations or the property. I mean, there's a lot of history. A lot of
Yes.
history.
And there's a lot of history in your town,
Oh,
Connecticut.
absolutely,
Oh my God, dude. I
absolutely.
Man, between the Native Americans that was
Hmm.
there, the Indian barons, man. Hell, dude, you can't drive by one. They're everywhere in Connecticut or in
Absolutely.
the the in the east.
Where I
Uh,
am right now, I'm actually at my buddy's house in Middlefield, Connecticut, and about 5 minutes down the road is an actual Indian burial ground. Um, in Middletown alone, there's probably about 6 to 8 burial grounds, and we're right on the Connecticut River. So that was a highly populated area for Native Americans.
Now,
Yeah, I
are these
was
areas protected?
Um, I want to say so, not 100% sure. One of the Indian burial grounds is
Hmm.
actually a cemetery. So I don't
Hmm.
know. Yeah, I'm guessing it's protected.
Mm. You know what? Next topic. You mentioned it yourself. How do you feel about cemeteries?
um, I've been to several cemeteries in Connecticut, including the ones where the Warrens were buried. Um, there's a lot of people that think some of them are bad in Connecticut, and then
Hmm.
there's a couple where there's nothing at all. I believe they're there because their body's there. Like I said, several of them are also Indian burial grounds, so it's hit or miss with me. I've been to probably 10 cemeteries, well-known cemeteries in Connecticut, and we've had two where we actually have had activity happen during the day and at night.
Now, is cemetery a place where you would actually like to go investigate, or do you think it might be a little something
Um,
for if you're starting out?
it was a practice facility, as I could say, growing up. You'd go in there with a recorder, an EMF detector, and see what you can get. Personally, I like to stay away from cemeteries because there's a lot of rules and regulations up here too. And it's
Hmm.
just I feel like it's their safe place. It's their burial area. I don't like going in there and disrupting them or trying. Of course, it's haunted. Their bodies are buried there. I don't like to disturb them. Pretty much.
Yeah,
Now,
And
do you think? Go ahead.
my personal experience with cemeteries, I actually grew up in front of one. My house that I grew up in, right behind it, was a National Hebrew cemetery, and a lot of the bodies from the Holocaust were buried there.
gotcha. Wow.
And to me, the Holocaust people and everything, they were more haunting of that spot than they would have like normally. Because to me, what I have always understood it to be, the spirits don't necessarily haunt where their body is buried at, but more like where they died.
Yeah, that's true.
Because every experience I've had at a cemetery have been nothing but good. I've never had like an experience where I went there and saw a malicious spirit or a wandering
Yeah.
apparition or anything like that.
Yep.
You might get the eerie feeling of something, but I have never once heard of a actual apparition or anything just wandering around the graveyard.
Yeah. I mean,
Except
there's
for one place.
there's one in Connecticut called, I forgot what the name of it actually is, but it's known for the White Lady. Supposedly, you see a lady in a white dress roaming the cemetery, and we've driven by there so many times, and we've gone in there once during the day because at night it's off limits, and we've never had anything crazy happen. I mean, out of all, like I said, we've done, I want to say three cemeteries in Connecticut just to see what it's all about, and never saw anything. Like I said, the EMF went off. Never got really any EVPs or anything like that. But again, I think it's also your head messing with you because of the fact that there's bodies buried there. So it's like you said, it's that eerie feeling of going into a cemetery because they're 6 feet under. But I've never seen anything crazy at all.
Yeah,
And
the craziest
Okay.
feeling or thing that I've ever experienced at an actual cemetery was at a cemetery that was from the Salem witch trials. It wasn't in Salem, but it was here in Connecticut. But there is a cemetery that you can go to where it now has a church in it. But originally, where the church was used to be a gallows where they would take people that they had conducted of being a witch and would kill them, and then they would bury them right there on the spot. Like the whole town would literally dig a hole and throw them in it.
Gotcha.
That
Wow.
that place is rather eerie, and there's been a lot of people saying spirit sightings and ghosts and everything
Gotcha.
there.
Huh.
But to me, that's like, oh, you
All right,
died
Mike.
there and you're buried there, so that kind of makes sense that your spirit would be
Yeah.
restless there.
Yep.
So you guys are saying that you come back to visit yourself every now and then. Is that what you guys are saying? Or would you come back and visit yourself?
I would definitely, I think, keep an eye on things, as I would put it. I'd
I
come
mean,
back and see what's going on.
I definitely come back and want to be the person that like sees like my family or kids or whoever's left after me and like try and give them the heebie-jeebies every now and then if I think they're doing something out of line. But that's me.
That's like what they say about paranormal investigators. When we pass away, they expect us to come back and haunt everybody.
Man. Have you guys heard of
Hey, Mike,
the new show coming out?
Sorry, what was
Dan,
that?
have you heard the new show that's coming out soon? Dan Aykroyd's putting out a spiritual supernatural show soon.
Oh no, I haven't.
Yeah, I love Dan Aykroyd, but then I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan. But
Yeah, same here.
yeah, he's putting out a show that's coming out soon.
Oh wow, nice. I'll have to look into that. That'd be cool.
I mean, I know they're coming out with their new movie.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
seeing it, but that's mainly
I
because
got,
I'm a Ghostbusters fan. I watch them all just because I'm a Ghostbusters fan.
yeah, I don't know, man. That last one was such a flop.
What are you talking about? That last one
I
was
mean, it really
amazing.
wasn't.
The last Ghostbusters
Oh,
movie was
come on. Are
amazing.
you kidding me, right?
You're
Are you
talking
talking
about
about the one where the kids,
Afterlife.
the one with the kids?
yeah, Afterlife.
Yeah, Afterlife. Are you talking about Afterlife?
Yeah,
Oh my
Afterlife
God.
was a
How
great.
many times they gonna kill? They gonna kill? What's her name? She died in the original movie. They sent her back. Now she's back. They kill her again. Now she's gonna come at something else.
Well,
I don't
they
know
Hey,
didn't.
about that one.
I have to say with Andrew though, I did like it.
Yeah,
Mike,
they
I
they
am gonna.
didn't kill her in the first one. They merely sent her back to where she came from. They didn't kill her. They just sent her back. And
Exactly.
in Afterlife, if you pay attention to the wall when they're in the chamber, it literally has all the dates on the wall of when Gozer is supposedly supposed to come back,
Hmm.
and every time that she has. So it's supposed to make sense. It's supposed to go back in history of all this stuff.
Well, I'll tell
There's
you
there's
what.
only
I'm gonna be honest
one
with you.
Ghostbusters movie that I didn't like, and it was the one with all the females in it.
Yeah, 2016.
That was
Yeah, I
horrible.
didn't like that one either. You know, if Gozer ever popped up at my house, she's in for a long damn night. I'm telling you.
Come on
She's
in.
in for a long damn night.
Be sitting her
Come
down for
on.
an interview. She'd
You
be
know,
sitting her down
down
for
in
an
there,
interview.
and I'm gonna put her ass. I'm gonna put her to work. Hell, she's gonna wash dishes, clean the deck. She's gonna do some shit. All right, Mike.
Dude, that'd be a hell of a podcast.
Now, yeah, it would. I am gonna send you a picture, Mike, and I want you to tell me what you think about this picture. Okay.
All right.
Do it however you want. You can blow it up. I'm gonna send you this picture. I'm sending it to you now. I just sent it to you.
Okay.
What do you see?
Well, what my eyes are focusing on, the first thing I notice is where the three trees are. There's
Mm-hmm.
that whatever that light is that's behind it. But it also looks like there's
Mm-hmm.
some kind of
What do you think
figure
that is?
forming. I don't know, but it looks like there's a figure forming in front of the tree too.
Mm-hmm.
If you look closely, it looks like a skinny body with a leg that's sideways where you can see the knee bent and two arms sticking up, but it also looks like some kind of glowing skull behind the tree.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Amazing, ain't it?
that's interesting.
Yes. I actually picked this up in the cemetery.
Oh wow.
Yes, a cemetery. Uh Very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you can actually
Yeah.
see
And
the tail of the light from the skull or whatever that is peeking around the tree. It looks like it
Mhm.
shot past the tree and it's looking around the tree. That's cool.
and guess who it was looking at? It was looking at me the whole time
Yeah, yeah.
because
Yep.
I was looking. I was looking at that tree. I was like maybe 30 feet away,
Wow.
and man, I was just focused.
Here, let me-
No matter where I walked, I was looking at that tree.
This is what
And
it
what's
is.
so
That's
crazy
crazy.
about it, I could not see it on. I could not see it on my laptop, so I had to go to I took my camera and put it on the big screen
That's
so I
crazy.
can see it, and I blew it up, and it amazed me on what that. I like, oh my god!
That's
I
crazy
went and
looking.
showed my wife, and she's like,
Yeah, that's creepy. I'm not
man,
gonna
you
lie.
actually caught.
That, That's creepy.
Because looking at that
Peekaboo.
picture,
I
it
see
almost
you.
looks like it's a distorted humanoid shape because it's not necessarily humanoid at the same time because it looks like the head's on one side and of the trees and the body's on the other almost.
Yeah, and it looks like the arms
Mm-hmm.
are sticking out like above it,
It's almost
like if they're
like
doing a Y shape.
what do they call skinwalker? It almost looks
Yes,
like
that was
a
what.
stereotypical skinwalker.
Yep. And you can actually see the
Man,
leg
you know
and the
what?
knee like it's bent backwards.
If that's a skinwalker, he's in the wrong freaking neighborhood.
That's crazy.
Well, the story behind
He's in the
skinwalkers,
wrong.
they can be whatever they want. So it could look like that 1 second, and then it could pass through the other side of that tree, and next thing you know, it's a dog or a deer or whatever.
Mm-hmm. But
Some
we
friend
caught
that you didn't know
this.
you
We
haven't seen
caught
in
this.
forever.
I actually caught, right. I caught it on the east side of Austin in a old slave cemetery. One thing about Texas, man, there's cemeteries everywhere because there's so much history right here. There's so much death. Hey, people will literally, if you bury it there, that's most likely that's going to become a cemetery. And man, this place here, I can take you right now to this place, and I almost guarantee you'll be running out of it.
Wow.
You know, you'll be running out of it because things happen in this cemetery. You just can't, you can't explain it. And one of my members went there alone, and she's a psychic medium, and she ran out because she saw things coming up out of the graves that she could not explain. She didn't want to try to explain it. She got the hell up out of there. You know, and I'm not saying that he, whatever this is, was a part of that, but you know, it's cemeteries are very active and they very much are alive here in Texas. You know, and there are some of the creepiest places I've been. What's up, Joseph? Hey, couple of you guys, Mike, are you able to see the comments?
Yeah, I see him. Yep, and Joe's on there. Another awesome team from
Right.
the
What's
East
going
Coast.
on, Joe? How you doing?
And then Lori is from Get Haunted. We worked with her last weekend up at the Hinsdale house.
Cool.
Okay. Okay, cool. Mike, let me ask you a question. What kind of equipment do you work with?
We have tons of equipment. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, because I looked on your page, and you got a big old table, just tons of
and that
goodies.
wasn't even all of it. There are still 4 cases that I haven't even put up there yet. That was just to film and do all that stuff at the Hinsdale house last weekend. I try to stay up to date with the equipment as much as possible, which can be very expensive. But to be honest with you, my favorite piece of equipment is a mag flashlight and a recorder, a voice recorder. You can't get any better than that. And yes, we like our camcorders. You know, I have 4Ks and 5K camcorders that we set up and use all night long. But those are my 2 pieces of equipment that I like the best. I mean, we have an SLS, we have an XLS, we have motion activated lights. We have everything. But like I said, those are my 2 go-to equipment right off the bat.
My favorite is an old Polaroid camera.
Yep.
Older the better.
That's straight evidence right there.
Oh yeah, guarantee you, man. You can't nobody debunk it. You had one of those cameras where you still shot. I mean, can't nobody say anything if you capture something on that bad boy.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying?
You know,
that's just
another
the way it is.
Another thing that I like to use the most on investigations, and Lori, who's on here, I don't know if she's still on here, but she taught me through Get Haunted, is using your senses. I like to sit in a location in an area for like a half hour to an hour and just listen to everything around us and look for smells,
Yep.
look for anything possible. And we did that up at the Hinsdale house last weekend. We sat in the living room for about an hour just to see what can happen. And you can't get any better than that when you're using your senses.
Right? Or, the craziest thing is when your hair stand up on you and you don't have any damn hair. That right there tells you.
That's what I tell everybody,
That
though.
right
It's like
there tells you.
as soon as your hair stands up and then you feel that coldness move in, you can feel, something's there. You can feel the electricity in the room all of a sudden.
Yep. Have you guys ever thought about using a Tesla ball when you're out there investigating?
Never thought of it.
I've heard of some people using them for what do they call them? The squawk boxes, the ones that are supposed to it's supposed to bring out what the ghost says. It's like it only does static, but when the ghost speaks, it's supposed to let them speak through it. They use the Tesla balls and everything. It's supposed to like give them energy so they can talk.
Huh.
I don't know how true that is or anything.
Almost like a pump, electricity pump type thing.
Yeah.
They say what the squawk box does, because it looks like a regular recorder that you walk around with, but it puts out basically static. And when a spirit comes in and you're asking questions, the ghost is supposed to be able to use it to send messages back. And the static is supposed to be the energy that they're using to do it.
Almost like an Ovilus on steroids.
And,
yeah.
And the and the thing about Tesla ball is if the spirit's touching it, you will be able to see that. Because when they touch when their hands touch the ball, all that energy goes into the fingers. Just like when me and you do it, same thing.
The fingers. Yeah, no, that's cool. I never thought of that.
So that also all depends on what kind of chemical they're using inside of the ball to produce the electricity. Because with those balls, they can change the gas that they put inside of it, because that's what makes it the different colors. So depending on what gas is inside of it, depends on what colors, depends on what frequency at which the electricity will charge to the outside. So if you have one that has the wrong gas in it, it might not affect the spirit whatsoever. But there might be an element that the spirits have more of a frequency with that it might work 100 times better. But who knows?
That's interesting.
Another thing that we tested is a Tesla coil. A little bit dangerous. I wouldn't try to stick your hand in there. It's gonna pop the shit out of you. But those Tesla coils are pretty interesting because we'll see electricity, the actual electricity. When we use it, we'll take a step back. But when we used it here, it kind of scared me a little bit because when somebody actually touched that thing, it actually pops.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? It actually pops. I mean, if a human was to touch it, dude, it's gonna knock you 30 to 40 feet back easy. I mean,
you can do the same thing with the Edison balls. The Edison balls, you can overcharge them. You can put enough electricity into them that if somebody touches it, you'll get a literal burn from the shock.
Wow. Oh yeah, and those things hurt, dude. I mean,
yeah, sounds it.
But sounds interesting. It's a little dangerous, but it's well worth it. we got one. I don't think we paid no more than 60, $70 for that Tesla. But uh Mike, let me ask you a question, man. Are you religious person? Do you go to church? Do you do this? Do you do that?
Um,
Do your parents go to
I used
church?
to. I used to. I'm a Catholic. I used to go to church when I was younger. Went to the whole Sunday school and all that kind of stuff. When
Mm-hmm.
I was married, we went to church almost every Sunday. Me and my wife. We were married in a church. But I mean, yeah, I'd say I'm a religious person. Um,
Okay.
the one thing that I've learned because I was Christian, I had to convert over to Catholic for my wife to get married. And I can
Mhm.
tell you right off the bat, 90% of the Catholics do not like what I do. I was told while I was taking the classes,
Exactly.
does the father or priest know what you do? And I said, no. Like, well, maybe you should talk to him about it. But I never brought it up, never talked to the priest about it because I know how they can be. The one that I went to up here is very old school. It's a very old school Catholic church, and they still believe in the old school
Yeah.
ways. So kind of stayed away from it with them.
And you know what? And that was the next question that I have for you is why does the Catholic Church uh dislike on what we do when, if you guys think about this, since the Catholic Church was founded, who or what did they use to go out and to when certain situations came up, who did they send out to investigate these things? Paranormal investigators, am I right?
And they did a lot of exorcisms back in the day. I mean, if you
Yeah.
watch some
So
of
how
these
did they
movies
manage?
and watch some of these shows, they were big into exorcisms back then. Did they think it was a good thing? No.
So why did no? But why did they all of a sudden in the 20th century, the 19th century, the 20th century, now into the 21st century, they decided that they don't want no part of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what
Leave
it
it
is,
alone.
but it's a very interesting subject because they're very against it right now. Very against
They're
it.
very against it.
I
But
think most
here's
of
the
the
thing.
reason why
Also,
they're I think most of the
if
reason
you
why
go
they're
to that
against it. I'm sorry. Go ahead. There's like a delay
if
when you're
if
when
you
you're
go to
speaking.
that vault, yeah, if you go to that vault in where's that big vault at that they have all these unbelievable things there at, you're able to go if they open up that vault and just let somebody just go in there and see what's in that vault, you wouldn't believe on the stuff that the Catholic Church are hiding from us. But yet they deny and they continue to deny everything that we are trying to figure out.
Yeah,
I,
you're
I don't
talking about the
understand that.
Vatican. You're talking
Yeah,
about the Vatican.
I was just
Yeah,
gonna say the Vatican.
Yeah,
yeah.
I've seen some of the documentaries and everything on the people that were actually allowed to go into the underground of the Vatican and everything, and they said there's like signs of Satanism and all kinds of stuff underneath there from like the Dark Ages and everything else, from like ritualistic sacrifices and everything else that were happening underneath there.
Now, my question is: do you think the reason why they're so against it now is because of what they went through back then, with
I
all
th-
the possessions and stuff that they believed in back then?
I think the reason why they're so against it now is because of all the technology we have.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
That
there's.
that I think is like the biggest thing. Because right now, I think if somebody was to claim they were possessed, and then the Catholic Church sent somebody out there to do an exorcism on them, 100% it's getting videotaped.
Oh yeah.
in
Yep.
some way or
Yep.
fashion, or there's a hidden microphone in the room that they don't know about because you know for a fact they ain't going to want it recorded. But there's going to be
Mm-hmm.
some sort of thing that's going to be recording what's going on in there, and because of that, it's going to be like ruling out their faith almost. Because some of the exorcisms they straight up know are it's not an exorcism. So some of it they know it's just a mental health issue. Some of it might
Mhm. I
actually
was just
be
gonna say that through
some of it might actually be a
a
possession.
period a period of the time in the 70s, I believe, they thought it was mental conditions. They didn't think that they were possessed. They thought they had mental issues. So I think it was a good like period of time back in the 70s, I think early 80s, where a priest would just believe that it was all mental issues. And then
And
you go to find out that they thought more towards the possession side of things.
especially when they start climbing walls. Have you guys heard about that case recently where the young girl was possessed and she was climbing the walls?
No, I
I
didn't hear
think
that.
it was. I'm not for sure where it was, but it was. It came out that this little girl, something was wrong with her, and she was all over the damn walls, just climbing, and it was, man. Somebody actually got the damn video of that, and man, they tried to post it, but it was immediately taken down, quick.
Hmm. Well, that was supposedly the
You
case
know.
with the house that Zach Bagans went to. It was the was it the original Demon House that supposedly the children that were possessed were climbing the walls and going on the ceilings, and it happened in supposedly in the doctor's office at one point that one of the kids went backwards and climbed the
Hmm.
walls. Now, I don't know if that was for TV purposes or if that actually legit happened, but that was supposedly the case of what happened to the children.
Wow, interesting. Now, Mike, do you use any of these paranormal phone apps that are out today?
There is one that I just started trying. Now, I'm not 100% sure if it's legit or not. A lot of the YouTube paranormal shows are starting to use it. It's called Spirit Talker. Um, I've used it on location twice so far,
Mm-hmm.
and the words that have come out are about 60% related to the place that we were at. But I'm not so fond of using apps and all these pre-existing words that are built into it, and I don't know. There's something about it. That's
Yeah,
why I have an obvious that I use.
that's the same thing that I was telling you about, but it's called a squawk box. It's not an app; it's a little thing that you can buy that does that exact same thing.
Gotcha.
It's been around since like the '60s or '70s.
Hmm. Now, the one thing with the app is, like we all say, turn it onto airplane mode. I turn the Wi-Fi off on it. I turn the cellular part off on my phone. But I don't know. I have a thing about phone apps. Some of it, sometimes it's correct, and sometimes it's not. And I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. I'm 50-50, I would say, with it. I guess now that I'm thinking about it.
Mm. All right. Hey, Mike, have you ever come across the Historical Society in Middletown, Pennsylvania? And if you
No,
have, how did they treat you?
I have not, but I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Okay. Because I know most of them are a real pain in the butt to deal with.
Really,
You know,
really.
would you can say that the Historical Society is all about money if you want to get into some of these haunted locations?
I mean, they do throw in a lot of events. I would say it that way. Charge tickets. Um, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I've heard bits and pieces about good things about them. I've never really looked into the whole thing or actually bothered checking with them. But Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I know
Don't really know
because
nothing.
down here, down here in Texas, if you really want that big location, state capital, uh, oh man, where is that place? There's the cemetery where all the veterans are laid to rest. Certain houses that have a certain historical value, uh, man, they're sure to have some kind of paranormal activity in there. Because hey, they've been around hell since the 1700s. A lot of
Yeah.
people died. The Alamo, for
Yep.
example,
Yep.
hasn't changed much over the years, but you are not allowed to one, take a camera in there. Number two, you can't touch nothing. You know, they you go in there. So, these guys, they're protecting something from when you go in there, they must know that something is going on. So and the historical society, man, they are when you're talking about a governmental entity down here in Texas, it's the governor number one, historical society number two.
Gotcha.
Because you can't do nothing, you can't get in these big locations like the Driscoll Hotel. If they even see you with the camera in there, they're gonna try to escort you out.
Wow.
And that's a hotel. You
Wow.
know, uh, state capitol open to the public. It's funded by the government. It's funded by us. So you should be able to go and nope, it ain't gonna work.
Thankfully,
So
I would have to say on the East Coast, we don't really have many places that are like that. I mean, there's a couple of the bigger places that have camera rules or editing rules. If you're going to put it on YouTube, you have to pay this or you have to sign this. But other than that, we don't really have many restrictions on where we can go. It's pretty much calling up and contacting the owner and seeing if we're available to rent the place out for a night. We haven't really had any issues, like I said, with going in there and not filming, not being able to take photos. A lot of the places are pretty cool up here on the East Coast.
Man, my favorite place to go is Gettysburg.
I've never been there, but we're hoping to get there next year.
Oh, I highly recommend going to Gettysburg. It
That's
is
yeah. A lot of people told us that.
phenomenal experience.
Yeah, a lot of people have been telling us that.
now, how much money are you willing to spend to get into some of these? Wow, man, because there's so many different. How can I say this? How much money are you willing to spend to get into these tier one paranormal spots?
I mean, the most that I have spent so far is about $600 for the night, but you can have up to 6 people. There's one that we're gonna be shooting our final episode at. That's in West Virginia, and it's $1,000 for the night. But it's a humongous place.
God.
But I like
And
to think of it as
ooh-wee.
a experience that you'll never have again. Like it was a once in a lifetime experience.
Mhm.
That's why I do it.
Okay. That's a lot of money, bro.
Yeah, it is a lot of money.
That is
But then
a
you
lot
have
of
these
money.
smaller places. You have the Hinsdale House. They only charge $350 for the night. You have Wildwood Sanatorium in New York. They only charge $350 for a night. So these small, big name places are there to help the little guys out, which is nice. I love the owners. The owners are amazing,
Mhm.
and they're there to help us out because of budget wise. It's a lot of money. And on top of it, you're talking about travel, you're talking about hotel, you're talking about gas, you're talking about eating out every night that you're out on the road. So yeah, it adds up pretty quickly. But
Oh,
yeah,
I
the
bet.
most will be $1,000 at the end of the year.
That's expensive. Oh, we.
Yep. is.
How far are you guys willing to travel?
The
I've
farthest,
traveled. I've traveled the entire East Coast. I've gone from Maine to Florida.
yeah, we've gone from Maine to down to West Virginia. West Virginia has been the farthest we've gone. Old hospital on College Hill. We're going to be going to
Okay.
oh my god, I just drew a blank. But the place that $1,000 for a night is down. It's about 15 hours from here, down in West Virginia.
Have you ever heard of a place in New York? How far are you from New York City?
Not
Hour and a
far.
half.
Have you ever heard of a place called the Island of the Dead?
Yes,
Would you consider investigating that place if you can get somehow some way on the island?
that would be pretty cool.
But do you know why they call it the Island of the Dead? If I'm thinking
That's
of the same, of if it's
is
the same
is
island
that
I'm
the
thinking
one where they
of,
dropped all the bodies off from the plague?
well, there's two.
Yeah,
There's the Island of the Dead from the plague, and then there's another island that they say is the Island of the Dead, which was a hospital island for what was it, tuberculosis or something like that. They were
Yes,
having,
that yeah.
because that's also an island that they call the Island of the Dead.
Is that one in New York too?
Yep, both in New York.
Gotcha. I'm thinking of the one with the plague.
now that's the one. When you say plague, is that the one with the coronavirus or the one before then?
This is the one before them, the old school one. I know there
Okay.
is one
Now,
now.
when the corona,
Supposedly there is one from the coronavirus where they brought all the bodies out there and dumped them there. That's like outside of Manhattan, I
right,
think, or something like that. I can't remember.
and there is the place used to be a hospital, a sanitarium, I think, and there are bodies there already. But the video that I saw is where they brought in inmates from Rikers, and man, there was trucks and so many trucks, cardboard people in makeshift cardboard coffins, and they were just throwing them. They dug the 5 feet hole, but you can only dig so far because if not you're gonna hit water.
I remember that story.
And
They say that it was tractor trailer loads of bodies that would come from hospitals too. And they would put them all inside the tractor
yeah,
trailers and they would bring them to this island. I don't know if it's actually legit. Like I just heard it on the news, but I haven't seen videos of it.
oh yeah, there's videos on YouTube. You have to look that up. There's videos on YouTube where the inmates were just taking the bodies from the trucks and just throwing them into the ground and literally having them stacking them up 3 to 5 crates high, maybe
Wow.
sometimes more. And they didn't even care if that was a child or not. That child got put in there, stacked on. And I don't know how a child would even get into that because somebody would have to claim a child. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's crazy.
Lori, that island would be very helpful to check out.
I mean, a mass casualty circumstance like that with the virus and everything, it's no telling what they could do, because a lot of people, even if they wanted to claim their family members from the virus, they still didn't let them because they were afraid that more people would get it and spread it more and more and more. So
Oh, guess he had to go.
And Lori just looked it up too. She said it's called Hart Island, and they are allowing visitors. I'm losing.
Are you there?
Oh, there you are. I lost you for a second there.
There okay. Yeah, island. I think that's probably one of the islands that's talking about and talking about. It's a very interesting to go visit. Are a lot of visitors there, but it's man, would you want to go there without? I mean, can you imagine feeling all the energy on that place?
I was just gonna say,
I mean,
imagine
it will
walking onto
literally
that
hit
island.
you in the face the minute it's going to hit you right in the face, man. It's so overwhelming. I can imagine, and you
And
can't
just
even be a
knowing too,
psychic or a medium because everybody
it's one of those
you
two
will
where
get bum rushed.
you know what happened, and you know there's thousands of bodies there. So it's just as soon as you walk on that island,
Yeah,
it's just I can only imagine.
yeah, I would love to check it out. Uh, Mike, let's talk about Middletown, Pennsylvania. Uh, how big is this town?
I'm from Middletown, Connecticut.
I mean, I'm sorry, Connecticut. How big is that town?
Okay, yeah. Um, Middletown's a good size. I don't know how many populated people there are here, but um, it's a pretty big area. It's right in the center of Connecticut, hence the name Middletown. We're right, literally like 20
Mm-hmm.
minutes outside of Hartford area, Middlesex County. I don't know right off the bat how, like I said, I don't know how many people are populated here, but there is a lot of people. There's a lot of houses.
There's a lot of people.
Um,
When
we
was
actually have
when was
a well.
Go ahead.
We actually have a well-known insane asylum that is here. It's called Connecticut Valley Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was moved to the top of a hill. It was originally down where Wesleyan University is now, and they moved it to a top of a hill in another area of Middletown.
Now, oh, you know what? I think I've heard about this. Now, most of this hospital is abandoned, right? Some of the
Yes,
area
there
is
is. On the old location, the buildings were turned into administrative offices for the college. Um,
mm-hmm.
Now up in the new area, there is I want to say maybe one or two buildings that are abandoned, but the rest of it's being used. And now they mostly turned it into a jail due to an inmate that's up there that was for murder. So they have the barbed wire up and around. It looks like a whole jail facility now up there. And there's a couple other people that are up there that are pretty criminally insane that they're housing. But the old location,
Right. So
when
it
the
would be
buildings the old location has some nice buildings, and they're still in excellent condition because the university is using them.
are you able to can you get access to those buildings?
No, because the state is tough. The state of Connecticut is not a paranormal fan, unfortunately. They're
Mm.
very strict with their hospitals and their jails and all the abandoned places that are big state-ran buildings. There's places where as soon as you step on the grounds, security's right there in your face already. So if you don't have permission, don't bother trying to go because you will be arrested immediately. Um, Connecticut's not a paranormal fan at all, unfortunately, with the state.
Wow. Okay. Well, you know what? That's interesting because you're the second person that brought that to my attention about that location. And just so happened the team that mentioned it to me actually tried to go up there, and they were security did catch
Yep.
they
There
definitely
is
told me about it.
there is
Okay,
one
you know
area
what?
there's one area
Go
that
ahead.
you can visit. There's one area that you can visit up there. It's the No Name Cemetery.
Hmm.
And it was all the inmates that they buried, but they didn't give them their names. They just went by numbers. So all the old school gravestones just have their numbers on it. but they recently redid a whole monument of all the inmates' names that are on the tombstones now. So you can look up their number and you can see what name they are. But that's pretty much the only area that you're allowed to go to.
That's interesting. Are you guys? How does? Oh man, how does the community feel about you guys and what you guys do?
Well, are you talking about in our town or in the whole
Yes.
paranormal community? Well, our town really doesn't know us well.
No, I mean, are you willing to get your name out, or are you a little bit skeptic to do that because,
we're always
like you
looking
say, your state is not known?
with us in Middletown. We're always trying to get our name out there. There's a couple places that I have contacted recently in Middletown, like public libraries that do seminars and all that kind of stuff. State ran places inside Middletown, I won't even bother trying. But the local small places, if I find stories or if I talk to somebody, yeah, we'd be more than willing to join in somewhere in Middletown. But unfortunately, Middletown doesn't have much other than Connecticut Valley Hospital. That's major.
Okay. Wow. We always seem to reach out to, we want to get our names out there to the community. We'll hit up a local brewery. Because where else? So you hit a local brewery and set up your equipment, and the questions come.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's, we found out we had a lot of success doing that one.
I have to say,
and
the coolest thing about Connecticut is when the Warrens have their Paracon at the casino, because that's when we set up a booth and we meet a lot of people from Connecticut, and they always say, "Oh my God, I didn't know you guys were from Middletown, Connecticut." So that's one of the ways that we branch out mostly in our home state, is just through the Warrens Paracon. Other than that, Massachusetts and New York and Pennsylvania are our biggest supporters, I would have to say, on the East Coast.
Okay. Hey, man, it seems like you guys are doing well, man, for that short amount of time you guys have been doing
Thank
this.
you. We do it for the love of it and the fun of it.
If you guys would ever consider, spreading out to, because I see this a lot. I see a lot of teams putting out other chapters in other states. Have you guys considered doing it? I mean, at this short amount of time, and you guys have had a lot of success, maybe it is time for you guys to branch out, to these big areas and these bigger states and these bigger markets to actually, get your name out there.
That's the one thing that's on our game plan. Our game plan is to hit out the Midwest, the West area. We want to go out to California. We want to come to Texas. There's been a couple times where we would love to take a trip out there. We're heading out to possibly Indiana. We're going to be heading out to possibly Wisconsin. We're going to try to do a lot more traveling in the next couple of years coming up. The East Coast, I feel like we put our stamp on the East Coast. Now it's time to spread out farther.
Right. Hey, man, we would love to have you guys come down south to the Southwest. I can't call Texas South because it's not really South. It's more like South. You know what I'm saying? But hey, there's a lot to see, and there's a lot to do here.
Yes, there is.
And it wasn't, and it won't cost you a large amount of money.
That's awesome.
To investigate some of these really haunted locations. Like you say, man, most of these locations are they're just abandoned. The city is
Yep.
not going to put up a lot of money to go and refurbish all these locations when they can just it's cheaper to build from the ground up.
Yep.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep.
So man,
Now
there's a
the
lot
one
of nursing homes.
the one other thing that I want to throw out there for us is a lot of people ask us about the whole abandoned building scenario. And the one thing I tell them is if we
Mm-hmm.
don't have permission, we don't go in. We don't want to piss anyone off. We don't want our reputation thrown out there by
Mm-hmm.
trespassing and I highly recommend to people if they ever ask, don't do it. It's not worth it. There's a big
Right?
consequence. If you're interested in abandoned buildings, try to contact the owners, try to contact somebody, get the permission because breaking and entering is not cool. And after being in some of these buildings that are beautiful, they're destroyed now, unfortunately, because of these people that are going in there and being reckless and all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
just treat the buildings
Man,
with respect.
because I've been in haunted locations, man, where I've seen people rip the upper out of the damn walls.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've seen them just do unbelievable things, man. I'm like, who does this
We have
at this day and age? But
We have two beautiful places that are abandoned in Connecticut, and one of them is Norwich State Hospital, and one of them Seaside Sanatorium. And they're beautiful buildings, and unfortunately, they were destroyed. I mean, people were setting fires in some of the places, and it's just granite stairs are now gone. People broke them and ripped them out, and it's amazing what these people have done to these buildings. And that is one of the things that I
yeah,
said down the road. If I ever win the lottery, I would love to buy one of these abandoned buildings and just bring it back to life because it's just nobody has
yeah,
respect. That's the downfall. Everyone just thinks,
you're
"Oh,
right.
let's break
And
in, let's do this, let's do that." No,
and me myself, I blame the younger generation on that.
yep,
Because these younger generations don't know what respect is.
no, they
You
don't.
know,
Unfortunately,
no, they don't know yes sir, yes ma'am. They don't know any of that. And what really gets me is everybody try to make a buck, no
mm-hmm.
matter what. No matter if you're still in copper outside of the wall, you're still in air conditioning compressors from up top. I mean, everybody tries to find a way to make money and
Yep,
not knowing that they're doing damage to the property.
yep,
And I'm like, oh, dude, it's really horrible. You know what? And that happens a lot here in Texas.
happens a lot here in
It
Connecticut.
really does. And I'm like, oh no, I can't do this. And I'm not saying, I've had my moment where hell, I've trespassed. I'm not. Every paranormal investigator has done it
Yep,
at one
yep,
point or another.
absolutely. When I was
You know,
younger,
I've done it. And and people out there, man, they'll do whatever it takes to get that so-called perfect evidence. If I go in here, I'll get this perfect evidence. Not always the case, bro.
no,
That's not
nope,
always the case.
nope, it's not.
Some people are in it, like you say, some people are in it for the love for what some people are in it for the vigilantes, man. Those
Yep.
are the ones that they're just tearing shit up. And you know what? And it's kind of bad on the urban explorer because there's a lot of urban explorers out there that
Yes,
are
there is.
willing to go to these places and just explore, not tear up nothing, just and believe it or not, Mike, hell, and urban explorers actually help us out
Yep.
because if it's a location that we don't know about and we see this, can we, is that thing possible?
The part I don't really
So we actually,
understand too is why do people have to spray paint everything? I don't get that either. Like, why do you have to spray paint logos or obnoxious things on the walls? Like, there's no need for that. That's the part that really gets me pissed off is when these people go in there and spray paint everything and they say
yeah.
words that aren't. It's come on. Doesn't need to be
And you
happening.
know what? And I thought that whole spray paint thing faded out when I was growing up. Because in the 80s, I'm not gonna lie, hell, I spray painted a damn telephone booth. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But it seems the thing rotates itself over the years. Years gone. Sometimes things happen to rotate, and what we did, it stopped, then it comes back along again. So
Yep.
it's just the way the world is. I think
It is.
I'm not quite sure. All right, Middletown. Before I get out of here, Mike,
Yep.
tell me Middletown, Connecticut. Tell me a little bit about the urban legends that are in that town, and if there are any, have you investigated any of them?
Urban legends. I really have not honestly heard any urban legends in Middletown, Connecticut. Like I said, yeah, I mean the only thing that was a legend was Connecticut Valley Hospital. Back in the day. Other than that, I never heard any urban legends of Middletown, Connecticut. Which kind of sucks because it would be kind of cool to live in in a city that had like some major urban legend about it. But yeah, I don't really know any from Middletown. We're
No
a
Bigfoot
small
sightings.
no, nothing like that. Middletown's mostly just a small Italian community. Let's put it that way. There's a lot of pizza shops and Italian
No genocide.
places. No, I haven't heard any of that.
No mob sightings or anything. Wow. What about
We have
no
some mob
No
stories.
Jersey Devil sightings or anything?
Oh, nothing like that. Or Middletown did have the mob. We had several connections with the mob. We had the Marinos and we had a couple other names in Middletown.
All right. Well,
But
you know what,
nothing
man?
like
We've been
urban.
on this podcast. No, we've been on this podcast for an hour and 37 minutes. I asked you two questions, and I want you to give me an answer to both of them. One is going to be for the gentleman that can't make it tonight. Maybe you can, answer that for him. All right. If you were, you have a bucket list?
I do have a bucket list. Yes.
Where would you like to investigate on that bucket list? Where would you like to go? No matter in the
I
world.
have 2 locations that I would love to go to the most. And one of them is Waverly Hills. That's been on my bucket list for a long time.
Okay.
And then another one I would like to go to is the Clown Motel in Nevada. Now, I hate dolls.
I've heard about it.
I'm not a doll fan, but I will go in there and deal with the clowns.
Yeah.
But
all right.
Those
where
are the 2
and where would you think your buddy, your partner would want to go?
He wants to go to the Clown Motel, but another one that's on his list that I remember him telling me about was Bob Mackey's.
Bobby Mackey. And man, they're remodeling that place.
Yes, they are.
So it's not open anymore.
Which is going to stir
I
up
don't know why. There you go. It's going to stir up a lot of problems. I don't know if they're doing this to make that place more active or they're doing it to actually trying to make money.
Yeah, that's a good question. I have a feeling they're doing it to try to get more people in there. It looks from what I've seen, it looks like it's a tiny place. So I don't know if they're trying to make it bigger for more people to come in or what, but Yeah, I'm curious to see why they're remodeling the whole place. I mean, I
I think
heard
that
some
would be
stories that
interesting.
some of the place is outdated and need to be redone, but I don't know. I'm curious, but I'm
Hmm.
curious to see what happens after it's rebuilt. The stories that are going to come out of there.
Mm. Yeah, I'm curious to see how many people are going to run out of there.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
It'll be a lot
You
quicker,
know,
probably.
yeah, that place. Oh yeah, because dude. One thing I know about paranormal and the history of paranormal, if you stir up the original place or the original setting, it bounds to make the place a lot more active
Absolutely.
than what it is because you're stirring up things that don't want to be stirred up. You're making spirits angry who are so used to having things a certain
Hmm.
way. Now you want to go and change it up. Now that's where the problem is going to come in.
I have a theory of when it's mostly a residual haunting, that when you remodel the place, it just pisses them off because it's like you said, they're so used to doing their own thing over and over again the same way, and now
Yeah.
it's a whole different place because it was remodeled, and I'm sure it pisses them off pretty badly, especially when they put their heart and soul
Oh yeah.
into a house
And
location.
oh yeah, definitely. And the next to last question that I have for you here is why do you think that? Because you mentioned it a couple, probably about 20 minutes ago, maybe 30 minutes ago. Locations get nothing. Some people get more active. You know, you go. Some people go in there and they get hella. They get, it gets active for them. A lot of evidence. And other teams go in there and nothing. Why do you think it's like?
You know, to be honest, I think a lot of the places are overplayed now. When they're doing investigations every night, I believe that the spirits get
Mhm.
tired. They're like us. They're like me and you. If we work all day long, people are coming in and bothering us all night long. I mean, you're gonna have nights where it's an off night. You're gonna have nights where it's incredible because it's like the ghosts need to break themselves. And with it being overplayed as much as it is now with some of these locations, it's gonna be mostly off nights. I mean, I've been to the most extreme places that you could possibly think of, and nothing happened 2 nights that we were there, or one night that we were there. But from what I found out, the next night
Yeah.
was off the wall, or the night before it was crazy. But I believe the spirits get tired. I think
Now,
they need a break. And
do you think maybe they're just tired of seeing the same old, same old?
yeah, I believe it. And they're probably tired
You
of different
know,
people coming in every night that they don't know.
what is the one, yeah, what is the one word that everybody uses for a paranormal investigation that you are just tired of hearing? Every team on the planet uses it.
There's always the
And I'm
same
here to tell
question.
you, bro, if I was a spirit, I'll be tired. I'll walk away from you.
Yeah. How'd you die?
Can you
Did you
move
die
this?
here?
Can you touch that?
Are you,
Yeah, how you
yeah.
die?
Are you a
And you know what?
female or are you a male?
It yeah. Can you touch the cat ball? Dude, you know how many freaking cat balls I've seen since I've died? And
Yep.
100 million freaking paranormal investigators have been here and asked me this. Why?
Some of them are like the
You know,
last time I knew it was
it's
their
mine. I'm sorry, dude. If you bring something new to the table, if you bring something that I'm curious in, I would might consider it. But if you
Yep.
come in with the same old stuff night after night, day after day, week after week, month after month, and year after year, I ain't gonna want to mess with you. You'll piss me off. You
And the
know what
thing
I'm
is
saying?
too,
If
like
you want that
some
evidence, I'll
nights
throw it down the hallway.
some nights the location can have a minimum of 2 people. The next night can have 20 people. It can have 10 people. I mean, it's all over the place. And that's another thing I think too is when you have a ton of people in a place, that's when it's gonna be a quiet night because I think they get tired, they get pissed off. Like there's so many people inside their place.
Yeah, leave, man. I don't need you hanging around me, man. I got shit to do.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, man, spirits are busy.
Yes,
You
they
know,
are.
I mean, you might catch on a you like you said on midnight, you might catch a, you might find somebody trying to communicate to you. But other nights, nah,
Yeah.
you really not.
I have a question for you.
No,
What do you think of the whole witching
yes,
hour?
sir. Okay, this is the question that I have for you. Then I'm going to answer that question. Okay, what hour is the witching hour? Because when I was growing up, my grandparents always told me the witching hour is between 12 and 1. Now I hear it's between 2 and 3. Which one is it?
I hear different stories about that too. People have told me it's between 2 and 3. People have told me it's been 3 and 4. But then you have the people that are saying, "Oh, well, is it West Coast? Like, so if it's 3 o'clock here, is it midnight there?" Like, everyone gets very, very strict about when witching hour is. And to be honest with you, out of all the places that we've been to, nothing's ever really happened extraordinary around witching hour. I believe the place is haunted. The place is haunted. It's going to happen no matter what. Just like people think overnight, it's oh my god, you got to do an overnight investigation. They're there during the day. They're not going anywhere. I've done investigations during the day. Have not had problem. I mean, have caught things. So the witching hour thing, I think, is just a myth. I think it's an
Exactly.
urban.
Well, I'm thinking it might be a Midwest thing. Me personally, because there's a lot of farmers out there, and the witching hour really don't. See, the thing is, I really can't put that in with, uh, uh, paranormal, just because witching hour. The
Yeah.
witching hour, everything's supposed to be vulnerable. This can happen, that can happen. No, I don't think that's how it works. I think the witching hour is a Midwest thing. It's a Iowa, Michigan, all those Midwestern states that that are in the Howard thing. Hell, so I just
Yeah, I
think
agree.
it's just BS to me. You know what I'm saying? But
Yep.
just like urban legends. It's an urban legend that started from way back in the 17, 1800s, and it worked its way up till now, and things have got a little twisted about it. You know what I'm saying? Because like my grandparents are telling me the rich hour was between 12 and 1. Nothing happened. It was just called the witching hour.
Yeah. Yep.
Why it was called the witching hour, they could never explain it to me, because something that their parents taught them, and so on and so on and so on.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I
It's
just think
passed down
it's
through generations.
man, yeah. And it started with farming. That's what I think.
Yeah, that
You
makes
know what I'm
sense.
saying? And it's just like daylight saving time started with farming.
Yep.
And just so luckily that the government has decided this would be the last year of daylight saving time. You
Yep.
won't have it no more. They actually voted not to have it anymore, which is going to fuck me up because I want my hour of sleep.
I know, right?
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, it's that's how that works, dude. I mean, myth, a legend turns into myth. If you've seen it tells story at the beginning and how things go, and I think the how things go is just like the way they said it on that movie. You know, myth turns into legend or legend turns into something else. So everything that's been said for hundreds of years is, of course, it's been twisted, and all it takes is one time.
Yep.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? All it takes is one person to say, "Hey, this is like this," and next thing you know, bam,
Yep.
it's just
The
gonna go
word of mouth
running
is
off.
very powerful.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
So, Adam,
And
put that
to
down.
be,
Adam's here.
what's up, Adam? How you doing, brother?
Hey, how you doing? Sorry for the delay entrance. I don't know if Mike
Hey,
said I
take.
had a family emergency, so
Hey,
yeah,
you know what? Take your time, bro.
yeah. But I thank you for having us on here. I know Mike's been doing good, and I've been
Oh
watching
yeah.
from the hospital.
Hey, Mike's been holding down the fort, man. And we had a guest come in, Andrew Simmons, which I thought was a part of your team at the time. I like this dude. He just popped in, but it's okay. I don't mind. As long as they're respectful, and the team that I'm, podcasting with, they're respectful. I have no problem with that. Not at all. Mr.
That's
Drew
one thing I have
Simmons.
to say about the paranormal community right now is it needs more people need to be respectful. We're losing that right
Yes,
now in the paranormal community. There's a lot of drama and a lot of stuff going on. And when I grew up and worked in the paranormal, it was all about working together and being respectful. And we need to all bring that back. We all need to work
yes.
together and bring that respect back.
Because I don't like fighting over territory that doesn't belong to me or you.
Nope.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
unfortunately, everyone is very cutthroat right now. It's all about
Yeah,
being better than the other, and that's not how it should be.
you would never be better. You would never know as much as the next paranormal investigator, because that book would not allow you to be better, uh, than the next paranormal investigator, because you're forever learning, and that book is forever evolving. That book is standing right. Somebody's writing that book right now.
Yep.
Like I was telling this lady, Surf Paranormal last night, that book is forever been written. We can try to keep up with it, but can we? Or should we even try to?
Mhm.
That's the
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, that is a question.
You know, when
So I'm a type of guy, I'm a type of guy is I would love to keep up with it. But the thing is, should we? Because as whoever's writing that book, for every page is being turned, you're learning something new.
Mm-hmm.
Something's been written, something's been said,
I've
and
been
I'm
doing this
like, wow,
a long time, and there's a lot of stuff.
and it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder, do you really have do you really want to be able to do this? Do you really want to be able to try to keep up with this book? Because that book, like you say, it's forever been written in. And I would like to know the person who's writing it.
Yeah, me
You know
too.
what I'm saying? Because I want to ask him some questions.
when you
First of all,
when you find out who's writing it, you let us know.
trust me, I would definitely let. Hey, man, it's gonna be 60 minutes. I'm
when me and Mike were sitting on the couch when we first started Two Brothers, never would I thought we got this far. A, B, the reason we got this far is because we don't look for the book of the paranormal. When we go on investigation, Mike is all about the history. Sometimes I like to go in there blank because I'm there to learn about the spirits are there. So, people could say this about spirits, And then when you go there, you don't get that information, and you're like, So if there was a book, I probably wouldn't even open the page, because
It's about making new chapters ourselves.
Like, exactly. You get people ask you questions every day, and you're like, how do you don't know, because you could go somewhere and you could have thousands of dollars worth of equipment. You could have anything and everything you need, and the only thing they're going to answer to is a flashlight and a recorder.
I already told them that.
That
was the first thing we talked about.
I'm sorry I missed that part, but
right.
But even certain things, like kids have the ability to see things we don't. There's times where my son is crying, and I go over. I have my best friend's ashes in my house, and I'll walk over past the mantle where the ashes on, and my son will stop crying. So for a book to be written, you wouldn't know what to write, because for what works for you might not work for me, might not work for Mike, might work for 5 other people. So what I tell people when they ask me, well, what should I do, or what should I find, what works best for you.
Yep.
Because it's all different for everybody else.
Yep.
There can't be a book to write on how to go hunt ghosts.
And like you said, if everyone did the same thing, that's why some nice places are not active, because they're getting tired of the same thing over and over again.
I'm tired, man. I want to go eat Whataburger and eat some fries, and I don't want to sit up here and, can you touch this ball? Man, get your cat ball. I'm going to Whataburger and eat me a triple cheeseburger. Bye. I'm saying that.
Have fun at the location. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Okay, guys. One last question.
Yeah, no problem.
One last question that I have to ask you guys.
All right.
Do you think spirits are up to date on the things that we do in this world?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I gotta think about that one.
The only reason why I would say that they are up to date would be with the fact of how many people are looking for them and all the stuff they're bringing to these investigations. They're experiencing the new equipment that we have. I mean, let's be honest, from when they passed away back in the day, and the hauntings back then are so more different than they are now. And that's because of equipment that people are bringing. So I think they're learning just as much as we're learning every time someone comes in the location. Oh, what's that they're using? Oh, can I play with that? Or what's that thing over there? Oh, like they're curious, I think. I think spirits are a lot more curious now than they were then.
I also think, like the same thing Mike said, they're learning with all the new types of equipment. Sometimes, like, you'll have the new equipment and you'll get nothing from it. But if you show them, hey, if you go up to this REM pod and go near it, it makes cool lights and noises. Now, for 4 or 5 hours of investigating, you haven't got nothing. But as soon as you show them, next thing you know, that piece of equipment is going off. It's because they're learning. So I do think they can learn.
I think a key factor is, like humans, I think it's communication. Communication is a big factor with the spirits and with the living. So if we go to a place where it was children, they're not going to know like all this fancy equipment unless you show them, look, it makes noises or it makes music, or we have an EMF dog that we bring with us and they like to pet it and it will make noises. So I think that's what's keeping them more up to date with everything now compared to back then. This is technology. Technology has grown a lot.
And even if they have,
it really has.
even if they have learned equipment, like I said before, sometimes they just like to communicate through simple ways. You know, a lot of this new equipment takes a lot of energy for them to answer. But if I say, "Hey, can you turn the flashlight
Right.
on?" Or, "Hey, I just want to hear you. I might not be able to hear you through my eyes, but I have this recorder here. If you speak, it will hear you. It doesn't take as much energy." So I sometimes I do like all the fancy equipment because you get some cool stuff with it. But like I always go back to my little flashlight and a recorder.
That's what I said.
And
I told them that was our favorite piece of equipment.
like when everybody asks me, we go these places, what can I get to start? Dude, go get yourself a mini little mag flashlight and get yourself a recorder. And they're like, yeah, but you got all this cool stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what I like using: the little flashlight and the recorder.
There you go. Okay, guys. One more question. I'm gonna get you guys out of here.
Go for it.
Why do you think? Why do you think most spirits are more has more energy than others? Why do you think that?
Well, it depends, I believe, on how they passed away, what they're connected to. I believe that more energy if it was a place they loved that they put their heart and soul into. Maybe they're connected to some way. I feel like they're going to have more energy that way. It all depends, I guess. I mean,
and also if there's great energy sources near the places that they're at, if there's rivers, if there's power, like high powered power lines near the place, where they can feed off the energy, I think that also makes a difference. But like Mike said, if even as a human being, a living human being, if you like your job, you're going to put more energy into it. Or if you like the place that you live, you're going to put more energy into it to get it to where you want it to be.
And that has to do a lot with the remodeling, like we were talking about with Bobby Mackey's. They're going to have a lot of energy because they disrupted their residual haunting.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So if they have a love and a connection for a place, and then you also throw in that river, that stream where the high powered power lines where it can also feed them energy, it's going to be a great time, I think
hey, you know what, man? It has been that was a good answer, man. That was a good one.
It's gonna be a party.
Tell the world how to get a hold of. Tell the world how to get a hold of Two Brothers Extreme Paranormal.
All right. Well, you can find us on Facebook, you can find us on Instagram, and you can find us on YouTube. Just put in Two Brothers Extreme Paranormal, look for our logo. It's the name with the little demon sign on it.
and also, because a lot of people spell out the word two, it is the number 2.
Yep.
Before it. And then you can also check us on next weekend. We are going to be at the Paracon Wicked Pissa.
Yep, up in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
So our East Coast fans, if you're watching right now, we'll be be in Rockland, Massachusetts next Sunday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
It's going to be an amazing place.
You got there's none of that down here. Paracons, man, it's really hard. It's really hard to even get something like that together, but without
it takes a lot of time and
throwing
a lot
it
of
down,
money.
Without putting a boxing ring in the middle of it and let paranormal teams at it that hate each other. You know what I'm saying?
But what if you did a boxing ring where there was equipment where the spirits could box each other?
Well, I think
I
I'm
think it's time for bed.
right. All right, hey guys, it has been a pleasure talking to you guys.
Hey, thanks so much for having us
Man,
on.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm sorry
yes,
for my late entrance again.
oh, you're good. Hey, man, appreciate having you guys on, man. I really do. Appreciate all the comments that that came in. Not as much as I wanted to, because I was having problems streaming multiple Facebook apps at one time. I don't know what the hell's going on with that, but I have to figure that out because normally I'm streaming at least eight, and now I'm only streaming at four. So I got to
Gotcha.
figure out what I need to do to handle that. But anyway, hey guys, it has been a pleasure talking with you guys. If you guys want to share this video, feel free to do so.
Will do.
And just do whatever you guys want to do with it. You know what I'm saying? But don't make me look too bad now.
Nah, we won't.
No, we're not about
Hey,
making
man.
anybody look bad.
You've been nothing but good
Don't
to
make
us.
me look too bad now. Hey,
No, you're good.
I'm running out of I'm running out of soda here. Don't tell nobody. You know what I'm saying? But hey, it has been a pleasure talking to you guys, like I said
Yes,
before. And hey, maybe to do this again, and maybe you guys should get a podcast going. And I think you guys do, right?
I've been working on something. I was doing it a couple of years ago, and I took a little break from it when I got divorced. But I'm gonna probably start working on it again soon.
Yeah, get one going, dude. I mean, you're only, you know, helping yourself out when you do that. I mean, you putting your name out, dude, and you guys got a very, hey, you guys got a very, that name there, man, there's no way I can forget it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, hey, man, I appreciate you guys coming to the show. I really do. Hey, I appreciate all the comments, all the support, all the love. Hey, hey, you guys are ever in Connecticut, please reach out to these guys. If you got guys want to go investigate up there, reach out to them, call them. Maybe they can set something up with you guys if they're not in a Paracon. They seem to be in Paracons every week. You lucky little devils.
Well, maybe one day.
Anyway,
like Mike said, maybe one day you come up to one of the Paracons that we're at.
I'm gonna try to get up there. I gotta move to New York and investigate haunted subways.
Nice.
They got up there. Hopefully, I or from a drive. It's a long trip. You know what I mean?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
We know all about long
Either
trips.
way, it's a long trip. We drove 13 hours in the state of Texas and didn't even leave the state of Texas.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
Texas is huge.
Yeah.
Huge. But yeah, guys. Hey, man, I'm about to get out of here. You guys do. Let's do this again.
Absolutely.
In the meantime, this is NFPS TV signing off. All right. This is NFPS TV signing off from Sunday Evening Podcast with Two Brothers Paranormal. Oh, I forgot Brothers Extreme Paranormal from Middletown, Connecticut.
All
See
right.
you guys
Good
later,
night, guys.
man. Hey, enjoy.
Good night, guys.
Have a good holiday.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
All right, guys. What do you guys think about We got two extreme paranormal. Oh, that was weird, man. But you guys, appreciate you guys coming on the show once again. To the Extreme Paranormal from Middleton, Connecticut. Appreciate you guys coming on the show. Support the love. Hey, go out there and check them out, man. If you don't go out there and check them out, at least check them out on their Facebook, Instagram, and all their social media. Make sure you go hit that like, share, subscribe button with those guys, man. Show them the love. You know what I'm saying? Give them that HBO special like you give me. You know what I'm saying? But in the meantime, hey, I will see you guys next weekend. Once again, I got another great couple of paranormal investigators that are coming on the show. So feel free to jump on in, ask them 1,000,001 questions, and let's have a good time. In the meantime, I'm signing off here, so I ain't gonna grab me something to eat and hopefully watch some football. I don't know if my Broncos won today, but I'm gonna go find out. Don't nobody tell me now. But in the meantime, peace.